This is my 2016 Subaru WRX. I've done a lot of mods to this car. Some are great, and some are kind of pointless. I'm going to list my 5 favorite mods that I've done and think that every WRX owner should do. I'm going to list each mod, what it did to make the car better or more fun, and how complex of an install it was out of 10, with 10 being damn near impossible, and 1 being the most beginner-friendly install anyone can do. So first is suspension. I did lowering springs and upgraded shocks. I have Bilstein GT Worx shocks with RCE lowering springs. This was one of the first in-depth installs I had done to my car. It lowered the ride height by about 1 inch, made the car stiffer, but reduced body roll. The lower ride height made the car look so much better, reduced my wheel gap, and the added stiffness makes this thing super planted when taking turns. Potholes suck for sure, but when you got on a windy road, oh my god, nothing but smiles. I'd give this install a 6. I had to reuse the top hats from my stock struts, which added complexity. If you just do lowering springs, which I don't recommend, you'll have just as tough of a time, especially if you have an older car with a lot of rust. If you just get coilovers, it will be a lot easier. Bags will be even more complex. And I love that this mod is both aesthetic and functional. Next would be my Avid one, aka knockoff TE37s, and Firestone Indy 500 summer tires. I love the 6-spoke design of the wheels, and I went with bronze to try to mimic the famous Subaru color scheme, which is World Rally Blue body color with the gold wheels. Obviously, I don't have World Rally Blue, my car is black, but I wanted the wheels to somewhat have that Subaru look to them. This install is like a rite of passage for any car enthusiast. I feel like wheels and exhaust are the first thing everyone does to mod their car. You have so many different wheel designs and options, you can really customize the look of the car to suit your style. Tires can change the look but also add function. You can get wider, grippier tires to handle better. I have a set of winter wheels as well with winter tires, which helps the car perform amazingly well in the snow. You can also do stretch tires or thicker sidewalls depending on the look you want. My wheel specs are 18 by 9.5 with a 37.5 offset. This makes the lip line up perfectly with the fender. My tires are 255/35. I think a 265/35 would look a little better, as these have a minor stretched look that I'm not a huge fan of. I'd give this install a 2. It's super easy if you have separate sets. Just jack up each corner and swap them out. If you're using the same tires on a new set of wheels and take it to a shop to do, then it's a 1. You're just driving there and waiting in the lobby. But definitely a great mod and really changes how the car looks. Next is my Turboback Exhaust. I have a Cobb catted and resonated Jpipe with a Remark resonated mid-pipe and Remark Axlebacks. Turboback means all the piping after the turbo, and it's not like a Catback or Axleback where you can just throw it on and drive away. You need to get a tune when you change the Jpipe or downpipe, but boy does it make driving this car so much fun. Catbacks and Axlebacks are purely for noise and hearing your engine, maybe some minor pops. Upgrading the Jpipe allows you to hear more turbo spool and makes the exhaust throatier, but it also eliminates a lot of the restriction in the exhaust system, which when tuned properly allows for more power. So not only does the car sound faster, it is faster after getting tuned. This makes highway pulls, on-ramps, and other spirited driving a lot more fun. Given all the EPA restrictions and stuff, Jpipes are harder to come by, and there are other ways to make similar power, but I definitely recommend getting some kind of aftermarket exhaust that is not Tomei. No hate, but damn, they're extremely loud. I actually don't love my exhaust sound. I like the Remark Axlebacks, but I kind of wish I went to the Grimsby Catback afterwards. I prefer the tone of that one. I'd give the Catback and Axleback installs a 3. You do have to lift the car up, but it's just a few bolts and hangers. Aligning the tips might be annoying, and if you have an older car with rusty bolts, it will suck. The Jpipe section I'd give a range of 6 to 8. That was a super involved install for me, and the dreaded turbo studs are what make it scary. On newer cars, it's a 6 and not too bad, but once you get rust and salt, those studs could break and it's a nightmare. And that's when it becomes an 8. I got extremely lucky. The tips on one of my studs broke when I tried to remove it, but the threads were perfectly intact. I did have to use a Dremel to cut out the heat shield, which was not fun. It was worth it though. This next one will be a controversial take, but another favorite mod is my intake. Here I have the Cobb Big SF intake. And I already know people will say intakes aren't needed until big power. Stock intake is so efficient, especially with just bolt-ons. But okay, hear me out. All of that may be true, but nothing beats the induction sound you hear on boost and the bypass valve when you let off the gas. It's addicting. Honestly, as long as you get an intake with a box to protect it against the heat, mount it properly, and get a proper tune, no worries. I ran the OTS Cobb Stage 1 Plus tune for like a year and didn't have any major issues. My dam dropped a bit sometimes, but I refilled with top quality gas and it would always learn its way back to 1. I also made sure to put a mark 1 inch from the end of the intake tube to make sure I always had it in the right position. This intake is very picky on how it's mounted. You mount that filter too close or far away from the end of the inlet tube and you'll see some funny readings. But once I did the rest of my mods and got a Pro Tune, I have not once had my dam drop. I've been Pro Tuned for 3 years and the car runs beautifully. It makes consistently good power. I'd rate this install like a 4. It's not hard, just a little tight fitting on the piping, and it does take some time. And last but not least is my shifter stop. I got mine from Perrin. This thing will make your shifts feel a lot crisper, and this is something you'll notice every single time you drive the car. The stock shifter has a lot of play and it feels sloppy. Here's with the shifter stop in. That's all the play I have. First, second, and this is how much play you have stock. If I lift up on the shifter, that bypasses the shifter stop, and look at all that play. Let go. Here's with the shifter stop. Nice. Super crisp, a lot of fun. This was the first mod I did like a week after getting the car. I don't understand why it doesn't come like this. I give this mod a 1. You do need to be careful with pulling up the trim around the shifter, but it's just a couple screws and positioning the shifter stop exactly where you want it. This is the cheapest and arguably the easiest, most noticeable mod you can do. You're not looking at the outside of the car all the time, flooring it, or going on curvy back roads, but you will always be shifting up and down the gears. So there you go, 5 mods I'd recommend to anyone with a Subaru WRX who wants to have some fun with it. Let me know in the comments what mods you've done and think every WRX owner should do. And if you liked the video, give it a like and consider subscribing. And if you want more modding ideas, check out the videos I have on screen.